quickly, we are going to have our next speaker here up in just a moment. And as you can see, there is a Bitcoin mining machine up here, and they are going to be talking quite extensively about that machine. Some pretty incredible news. But as an interim little quick talk, for those of you that know about Satoshi Action, we were able to pass our right to mine bill into law in Montana and Arkansas. And we're fortunate actually right now to have the state senator, Daniel Zolnikov, who introduced and helped us move that legislation forward in Montana. And I would love for him to come up here just briefly. A big round of applause for Daniel. Thank you, Senator, for coming up. We'd love just a few quick words. We got a few minutes on the interim to talk about the process of how the bill got passed in Montana. Talk a little bit about sort of why you're so bullish on Bitcoin mining.
Thank you. First off, I didn't expect this, so I really appreciate that. I'm just here for a good time, and I was going to look for some food, but here I am on a stage with a microphone. Typical for a politician to show up and have a microphone in his hand in 5 minutes. I'm not just pro, like, Bitcoin or crypto. I'm very pro technology. I've ran many technology bills successfully. Example, Montana. It's the only state in the nation where you own your DNA completely. Crazy concept, right? So when it comes to this type of technology, people are fearful. They're worried about energy, surplus, what's going to happen to the grid. I'm on the other side. We need to build more, grow more, and that's why I pushed this legislation successfully. You have a very clear right to mine in Montana. We want that because we want you to build in Montana, because my goal is I want to be the digital exporting king in my state. We have the Saudi Arabia of wind and the Saudi Arabia of coal in the comparison in Montana. I want to build. I'm from a small town that struggled, right? I'm that small town guy from a town called Roundup, and I swear to God, we had a Sheriff Woody. So what my goal was how do we make people like me and families where I came from actually have an economic possibility? And that's how you do it. We need more energy development. How do you do that? With more load. So that's my perspective. I'm very excited to pass some nationally leading legislation, but really it's these guys who did it, came in, had really good ideas, testified, came in the middle of the winter where it's like 10 below and hung out with a bunch of yahoos in Montana to pass some leading legislation. So thank you, and thanks for allowing me to speak here today.
Thank you, Senator. Appreciate your time. And don't let them fool you. It's always the lawmakers that do all the hard work for us. So we're very happy to be working with the senator and looking forward to this next cycle coming in 2024, where we'll hopefully be passing laws that protect Bitcoin mining, including self-custody in over 10 states. I'm really excited about our next speaker. For those of you that don't know, there's a new player on the block when it comes to Bitcoin mining hardware. We're going to be having Rajiv Kavani come on up and talk about what Ardyne is doing with U.S.-based Bitcoin mining hardware development. So, Rajiv, thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Good morning, folks. Still have a few minutes this morning. It's a great show. What a wonderful show. Much different than the Miami show. This time, as we look around over here, people that know what they're doing, that are part of the Bitcoin ecosystem, we are very balanced in how we do things here. But let me talk about Bitcoin mining innovation for the post-halving era. I'm CEO and co-founder of Ardyne, and as you just heard, we are a new kid on the block, but we've been around for a couple of years and with some breakthrough products. So, it's a great time to be in Bitcoin. We started this a couple of years ago. Bitcoin has gone through ups and downs, but I think the last year has been just phenomenal. There's been more and more people understanding what Bitcoin is all about. There is talk about the Bitcoin ETF. There's been progress across all fronts, regulatory front, judicial front, as well as the financial front. We all know about all these Bitcoin ETFs, which could happen any day now. It could take a few weeks, couple of months, but everybody believes this is definitely going to happen. We are also approaching halving, and the bull run subsequent to the halving, people expect it to go to 150,000. And then people like Larry talking about flight to quality and looking at Bitcoin as a serious asset class. Now, most of us, by the way, who have been with Bitcoin for many years know all this stuff. The people have said these things before many, many times. What's different this year is, first of all, more people are saying it. And importantly, it's the financial institutions. So folks like JP Morgan, Bernstein, BlackRock, and that's very different. Many of these people were saying exactly the opposite just a few years ago. The other thing to take a look at is, I think many people in Bitcoin have seen this chart and the pattern that happens across every halving, where we run into a bull, followed by a crash and then a recovery, but it keeps going up. What I did is I said, let's take a look at what happens peak to prior peak. And you see these numbers going forward, and then the peak to subsequent trough. So it goes from like 14 down to 6, down to 4. And there's lots of people doing projections on what happens in the next halving and beyond. But I think that with the greater adoption with the ETFs, people will find that it's less volatile. It's more institutions. The marketplaces are much more efficient. And that's really what's baked into some of the forecasts. So it'll be 2 to 4x, peak to peak is what the projections say. And then the peak to trough hopefully will be a lot less than in prior cycles. From a mining point of view, what does halving really mean? I think there are 4 things that every miner ought to pay attention to. Clearly, there's cost of capital and other things, but from a mining point of view, 4 things matter a lot. The first thing is efficiency. It's going to take twice the amount of energy to mine a Bitcoin. Energy efficiency is super critical. And you want to set yourself up for the best efficiency for the next 4 years. I think more important beyond this halving than ever before will be energy partnerships. Demand response becomes even more important. The ability to curtail fast within seconds and be able to adapt to what the energy grid requires becomes extremely more important. The shift to renewable as well as use of natural gas and methane flaring, and being able to deploy these machines in a variety of places close to the energy sources across the world. So energy partnerships will become important. Who knows? We may have acquisitions where energy companies buy mining companies or vice versa, but I think that that's going to start to happen in the next 4 years. Bitcoin has been volatile, right? And it's not just a Bitcoin price. It is the fees that we get out of Bitcoin. The difficulty of Bitcoin keeps changing with the hash rates. The climate, we don't have control on the climate, and regulation will keep evolving in the next 4 years. And so you want to build an infrastructure where you can adapt to the volatility in this market. Finally, I think people who've lived in this Bitcoin space for many years know supply chain is an important aspect. There were pandemic-related supply chain shocks. Geopolitics is reality. I mean, Biden was talking to the Chinese Xi Jinping yesterday, and both of them have come to the conclusion that there will be competition, and geopolitics is a reality. Onshoring is a reality. Supply chain resilience is a very, very important factor in this space. So these 4 things are super critical as a miner looking into the next 4 years. Let me tell you about Auradine. We started this company early last year. We think we've put together one of the best teams to attack this space for Bitcoin mining. We are a US-based company. We are headquartered in Silicon Valley, California. We are backed by top-tier venture capital investors, Silicon Valley investors. The team that we've put together has not just built the best products that power today's internet infrastructure, that power the cloud today. We've built companies, and we've built multiple generations of products. So I think, of course, I'm biased, but I believe the team that we have is the single best team in America that has taken on this task. What we have done is super fast. So, people in the mining industry, when we started talking to them, they would start talking about test chips and have you done MPW and so on and so forth. We came out, built a chip, production quality chip in 4 nanometer. We built systems. We've shipped it to about a dozen customers. We've closed some very big orders that we will start to ship in December and onwards into the first half of next year. So, and then we announced a brand new product line that I'm just going to talk about coming forward. What we just did, just a couple of days ago, announced 2 new products that are the world's best in several dimensions. So the first product that we announced is the AT for tower, 2880 air-cooled system. This system, familiar system, you guys look at it, it looks just like that. It's the fastest terahash rate that you will find anywhere. But importantly, it's a 0 to 260. So this miner can be run based on what you want at whatever terahash rates that you want. The optimal efficiency that we deliver is 16 joules per terahash. Again, people have gone through lots of trouble to do overclocking, underclocking, eco mode, do all kinds of software tricks, and that void warranties. This is all within our warranty. We have the broadest temperature range, minus 20 up to 50 C temperature ranges. So it keeps running. We also have the capability to something that we call auto temp protection. So if the temperature keeps going up, the system keeps detecting itself and adjusts. So the idea is to maximize your uptime, give you better total cost of ownership through these capabilities, and be able to deploy in harsh conditions and not shut this miner down when you don't want to. We also have something that we call Energy Tune. This is a capability that we've innovated on. We've built it from the ground up. Essentially, the idea is to be able to change the energy consumption or terahash rates in a very dynamic fashion, up and down. And you can do it one miner at a time, a data center at a time, or through API calls. And you can actually use it to plug it into the energy provider's requirements. And then on top of that, we've put together a cloud management system that we call FluxVision along with open APIs. So if you want to use your favorite fleet management software, we plug into that. If you have written your own software for your data centers, easily plug into that. Okay, so very, very flexible, very open architecture. We don't void warranties. We are much better support folks. And importantly, we are based in America. We also, along with this, have a new immersion cool product. It's single phase immersion capable. Again, the fastest that you get in a form factor like this, 0 to 375 terahash per second, 15 joules per terahash. So really hitting the best we could to prepare everyone for the post-halving era. Broadest operating temperature range. Again, keep operating in harsh conditions. Very important for uptime and total cost of ownership, as well as the other capabilities I spoke about. So again, going back to those 4 things that are going to be extremely important if you do mining anywhere in the world: efficiency, energy, and demand response associated with the energy to be able to plug with your energy grid provider, volatility. Now, we also have this capability called auto tune. So you can actually set up the system based on the price of Bitcoin, based on the difficulty, based on your energy cost, to be able to tune the mining rates and the energy efficiency to the optimal points to make sure that it's economically profitable for you. Okay. Now you can do it. There's manual overrides. Very interesting feature. You do it at one miner at a time. You can do it data center scale at a time. Okay. So what we are trying to do here is to mitigate that volatility, to make you resilient to that volatility that may happen. And then from a supply chain point of view, if you want to be protected against geopolitics, supply chain issues, we are here. We are based, engineered in the US, serviced in the United States. Moving to a slightly different topic. I mean, if you look at the macro level of Bitcoin mining supply and demand, it's very important to see what it looks like. Hash rates are getting more and more spread across the globe. You know, we have roughly about 40 to 45% of hashing happening in North America, across US and Canada. People at this conference, other places are talking about mining in Africa, South America, Russia. So hash rate is getting spread all across the world. Very important for decentralized asset like Bitcoin. ASIC supply today, close to 100% of the ASIC suppliers are Chinese companies. Okay? Now, you might say, what's the big deal with that? Why is it important, and does it really matter? The first thing, you know, in theory, we all know Bitcoin is a completely decentralized asset. We also know Bitcoin has a 51% attack possibility. And to no company or no country, in my view, and I think in the view of everybody that understands Bitcoin, should have a significant majority of control on any single thing. So whether it's hashing, whether it's supply, that is a choke point, right? So imagine a scenario a few years down the road where you have Bitcoin becoming integral part of the financial system, store of value across the globe. You have a scenario where one country could potentially employ the 51% attack. We never want that to happen. So we want Bitcoin supply to be available across the world, across countries. The second thing that people talk about is energy grid security. We do want to make sure, similar to what happened on the telecommunication infrastructure, people were concerned about products from certain vendors plugging into the US telecommunication infrastructure. Same thing applies to the energy grid. We don't want to make sure that whatever gets plugged into the energy grid is secure and safe. Geopolitical issues will continue to happen. There will be sanctions, there will be tariffs, there will be various laws that could come into place. You want to make sure that you're protected against those type of scenarios. And then finally, national security. Bitcoin chips use the most leading edge silicon technology in the world. In order to achieve the performance and in order to achieve the efficiency, that's what's required. And that same technology is also used for the leading edge AI. It's used for defense. It's used for telecommunications. And there's a national security access angle that exists that people in Washington are actually paying attention to. So with that kind of a thing, what we are doing is we really want to make sure, I'm sure you guys are familiar with other companies in the United States that came and went, including Intel, okay? And what we want to do is not repeat that story. So what we are doing is we are launching this Invest in Bitcoin America program, and we're doing it with 2-3 goals in mind. We want to make sure that the US-based Bitcoin hardware ecosystem is strong, it's resilient, it lasts a long time, it's profitable, and it's shared. It's one of those things where if you're interested in participating in this journey, sharing in the success of making Bitcoin hardware real in America, you can join us. And so we are offering this opportunity for a short period of time for people that may be interested. And then people that want to buy these leading edge technology products and offering them certain special payment terms. So if you're interested, reach out to us and we can talk further about it. So I'll bring this to conclusion and give a little bit of time back to the organizers here. What we are announcing today also is a partnership with the Texas A&M University. The Texas A&M University is at the forefront of research in Bitcoin. There's more research. While we've brought a lot of innovations, I think there's more that can be done. More that can be done in making sure that we plug in better with the energy grid. The energy grid providers like ERCOT have certain requirements in terms of what they want from Bitcoin mining, and how can we make this overall infrastructure much more resilient and useful for the overall society at large. So I want to request Professor Enjeti from the Texas A&M University to come up to the stage, please. So just a couple of words. What we are doing here is we have established a collaboration with Professor Enjeti and his group. We are actually providing them one of our leading edge Bitcoin miners. And Professor Enjeti and his team and us, we will collaborate, and they will drive a fair amount of research in this area, again, to bring this Bitcoin innovation in the United States and to make it very, very useful to the grid. So you want to say a few words?
Thank you, Rajiv, for this announcement. I think, as many of you know, we are the first Bitcoin mining laboratory in Texas and arguably in the US, I guess. So we have several machines in operation, and then we are allowed to get this machine and then put it to all the tests and then report to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. forward. Yeah.
Hey guys, thanks for coming out to the 2023 North American Blockchain Summit. It was the best summit yet. We look forward to hosting you again next year. If you enjoyed the summit or like what you saw in this video, be sure to subscribe. If you're interested in learning more about membership in the TBC, go to texasblockchaincouncil.org to learn more.